All right, looks like we're recording. So I want to talk about block versus inline elements. So as we've said before, as I've said before, there are all kinds of different tags that are in HTML. One common one that you're going to use for styling is the div tag. You can also use the span tag, and we'll talk a little bit about that. They really don't do a whole lot by themselves, but you can apply style to them, of course, and have them do different things. Wanted to just get the basic concept here. Block level element is one that is laid out by itself. Good example is, of course, the div element, and then the paragraph element is very similar. It starts a new line and takes up the full width of the page. So if I were to type another element below, it would be hello world. It would not, it's actually inserting a line break here in between the two paragraphs. What I've done is I've gone over here, and in the Triad editor, I've got this document open that I've played around with a little bit. And so this is the example of earlier that you saw, where you've got two block elements stacked on top of each other. And I've added a little bit of little bit of style here to this document here. And I just wanted to make a couple of quick little changes here. I'm going to increase the size of this a little bit so you can see it. So now I've taken this and I've said, look, a div element has a green border around it. And so you can see here that what it's done is that it's laid these out separately. The alternate version of this is to do something like the span tag. And what I can do is, I think the good example here is if I take this div tag and I just drop it right here in the middle of the page and run it, you can see what it does is it breaks the lines up and breaks this paragraph up, because I've got this red line around the paragraph, and breaks it into different elements or different kind of objects. Well, I don't want to do that. I want to have this hello appear in line and look pretty and make it, kind of still remain a paragraph. So what I can do is I can replace this div with a span tag, which is an inline element, and you'll see that it will run inline. There's that hello. And I can come up here and say, look, okay, fine. Now, also make a span tag, I don't know, orange, and run this. And so now I've got this orange square. You can see that here, and I can actually change this to maybe to background instead. So you can. And so I've got this element. It's in line in the paragraph, and it flows. You can override, of course. Remember what I said is that by default there is a browser style sheet that comes with when the developers wrote the browser. They had to have some sort of style, so they wrote styles built in. So you can override all of this behavior. I can say, look, you know what? This span, I can make it display as a block and run it. And I'm back to where I was. Now I forced this down into multiple elements, and it's broken the paragraph. You can also do things like make it an inline block, which is another kind of unique behavior that stays in line here like this. Or I can just make it in line, which is what it does automatically. So these things will behave a little differently. If I go to like the hello world on the div, I can say let display as an inline block. And now you've got these two blocks that are next to each other. So it's a little different from span or from a straight in line. And you can read some of these things here on this page. Just Google block and inline elements in HTML for W3 schools, and you'll see these things. So there are these default behaviors for all of these elements. These are all block level elements. Word lists, paragraph. There's some common ones here. Footer, there's probably a header here somewhere. Header, there it is. Nav, so for navigation, you're going to want as a block. Field sets, which is a form. So you're going to, all of these elements, all the H1s, or all the H tags, all of these are going to behave like standalone elements that are on a single line. And then I get down here to inline elements, and here are some of the inline elements. Talk about the div element. It talks a little bit about this here. Read up on this. This helps you understand block versus inline, and it's quite useful. And you'll be using this a lot in the King Layer project. So hopefully that will be helpful.